Get back in that. Oh my God.
We are live, folks.
Hello.
This is going to be a show where the tech is going to go all wrong. We're just going to say it right now.
We're trying our best. But you know what? Actually, it's not coming from my end for the first time.
It's my fault.
That's all I want to say.
I'm in a hotel that happens to be a barn. So listen, it's going to be what it's going to be. That's it. That's
You're
it.
such a lesbian. You're such a lesbian.
That's pretty gay. Jamie, that's pretty gay.
Is there a cow down?
It's the show that nobody asked for, the only reason that we shower. If these ovaries could talk is live right now.
I mean, brilliance. That song is pure. I don't know what. I have to redo that song every week.
Jamie, I'm reminded. Welcome people to our show, for God's sake. Welcome to our show. While I get my audio set up.
The show that nobody asked for. We are here. We are queer. Get used to it. It's really fun, and we're happy to be here with y'all. And I have my cup here still.
Hi, Britt. Oh, this
Hi, Britt.
The exciting episode. We have a Where Are They Now with Liss and Britt. And what's interesting is that Liss, you're going to see her soon, is in an office. She tried to do it from a car. That didn't work. But Britt's in like a tiny little office space somewhere. And she was like, no, everyone doesn't want to hear about me and my sperm. So Britt's going to be chiming in with the comments. And I'm going to be pixelated because I'm in a barn.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. And Liss, we have to mention, had to move out of the car and into her little office that's full of like coworkers of hers that she's not sure they're going to want to hear about sperm and stuff like that either. So this is going to be fun.
I mean, but Jamie, don't you
how we live loud and proud.
That's right on theme for us as a brand. Like, nobody's asked us to do this. Nobody wants to hear any of this. And yet we keep doing it. So it's like, this is perfect.
We just keep putting it in their faces so that they love us someday.
Someday, Jamie. Someday. Jamie, what's our first
hot topic? Do you see how I go? I'm such a professional. I go right to the mic. I go right to
and I love how then you come away from the mic like you're like Celine Dion. Hot topics. Hot topics. Like your Cher.
Yeah, but not Cher. Not like that.
Oh, come on. Cher's the best. Jamie.
She is the best.
We are up once again. This is our fourth nomination for the People's Choice Podcast Awards. And tonight at 9 p.m., while Jamie and I are sleeping, we will lose this award.
I mean, that sounds so pathetic, but we really have a very good idea that we're not going to win this one. However, we gave it our all, and if we win, it'll be a huge shock. And the funny thing about these awards is when you get nominated, they make you send a winning video in, like before you've won. Everybody sends so that when the person wins, they just play the video.
So we have made 4 videos. We won once. And that one, and when we won, we were like, what? What?
No, the one we won, we had completely forgotten about it. I was camping. I was camping in a cabin in the woods with no cell phone service, no Wi-Fi. And then my son had croup, and then we had to rush him to the doctor. It was crazy. It was insane. But then we won that year. Maybe that's the
So maybe we both need to get the croup and go to bed early, and then we'll win. I mean,
I don't want the croup.
Jamie, where is your commitment to this podcast? Do you want to win or do you want to get the croup? Get the croup.
The croup. I don't want the croup.
I just want to keep saying the croup because
you get the croup and you get the croup.
You get the croup.
We're just here for us. We just make our. What would we do if we didn't make each other laugh? That I was just thinking about that.
I think we would have had one episode.
I think nobody would have listened, I guess, either. I don't know. Or maybe people hate that we laugh at each other's jokes.
Can you imagine if we did like a poll of the audience and they're like, it's really wonderful, except these two think they're really funny and they're not. By the way, we did get feedback like that early on, but it was just about me because that's just how it goes. They're like, and that Robin, fuck off. Fuck yourself.
It's just
you can take that feedback and you can stick it where the sun don't shine.
Shove it. We kept going though because we don't care.
Listen, in this world, Jamie, if there's nothing that I didn't learn from my childhood, it's that if you don't make yourself laugh, you're definitely going to curl up in a ball and have a heart attack.
Let's not do that.
It got,
No,
it got
I mean,
a
I'm
little
so
dark.
glad we can laugh with each other. It makes me happy. It makes me
Me too.
real happy, especially
Roll.
when I'm having drama with the buses. But we can talk about that another time.
Jamie, your bus stories got like record breaking like stories views. I was like, look at this.
Because I don't know if you guys follow the social, but I mean, you're here, so like but on in our stories we put up an epic Jamie's journeys in her commute to school on the bus. It was really fun. It was good. And where was I going with that? I had a point.
You were saying when it did really well.
It did really well because this is the struggle is obviously real for many mothers.
Yeah.
I'm not alone here when I say get the F up and give my children a seat.
And then we were like, Robin, now you put up something like it'll be funny if you put up that your kids are walking themselves home from the bus, but I hadn't showered and I was like, the fridge was coming. I was so sweaty. So I put on like that. This is the behind the scenes scoop. So I put on that ridiculous filter with the eyelashes that are like, to try to cover up for the fact that my hair was greasy.
It didn't work. I'm just kidding.
Sure did not. Let's go into our next
filtered hot topic.
This is some exciting stuff here. Okay. Now bear with me when I say gay divorce and excitement. Okay. So Billy Eichner, I have so many windows that I have to go to, and I'm sitting on the floor between twin beds. So Billy Eichner has a new gay comedy that's going to be hitting the big screens called Ex-Husbands. And it's about divorce between two gay men. And in the show, they were like the poster children they were the first couple to get gay married in New York City in the show. And then now they're in the middle of a big gay divorce. And what I think is really wonderful about that is like, to me, it means like normalization has occurred if we're just like divorcing like everybody else.
Well, it's, I wouldn't say normalization has 100% occurred, but I feel like we've gone like there and we got a long ways to go. But yes, I agree. It is heartening to see that there is a sitcom about gay guys getting divorced.
Isn't that weird? And what I also think is funny is like the news came out like the top of August, but we're just getting to it now because that's when someone sent it to us. So that's how we get our news is email us these little stories and we're like, oh, that'll be good for the live stream.
Yeah, we read your emails. We really do. And then we're like, ooh, that's a good idea. And then we steal it.
I mean, 9 times out of 10, it's my sister.
Well, she does that. She's really good at it.
She is good at that.
But you want to hear my Billy Eichner story? I don't know him.
Yes.
I don't really know him well at all. But I used to live right down the street from the Flatiron Building. And he used to do, did you ever watch that thing where he like, he had like it was like an internet show.
Yeah. And it was like the guy on the street thing and he would run up to people.
But he would go just around the Flatiron. He would just continuously circle. I had never heard anything about him. I had never seen this show, and I'm walking past the Flatiron and he came right, he scared the shit out of me. He came running up to me and he put the thing in my mouth in front of my face and he asked a question and I was like, I thought he was a crazy person and I was like, I'm not, no.
And
I just walked away.
You know how many they must have of those? They should just do like a 2-hour blooper reel of people just walking away from him.
Because I was like, ew, and why are you yelling at me? And please go away. Like it wasn't,
that
show was
a very particular taste.
Right. But I also felt like he was just trying to make fun of people. And I'm not into that.
I mean, you know.
I want to be made fun of.
Usually that's why you're on this podcast, to be made fun of. All right. Let's move into our guest for today. It's very exciting. It is a Where Are They Now with Liss and Britt. And as we've already covered, just Liss, Britt will be chatting in. They were in episode, and now I can't remember the episode, but it was called When You Can't Do It at Home, I think.
When you can't do it at home,
You can't do it at home. And it was about them trying, and we left it, and they did not have a baby. And
they were just getting started.
Yeah. And they were trying to find a donor. It was very deep into the donor search.
They had a whole doctor fiasco. They had to switch doctors. Hi, Liss.
Hey.
Hello. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me back.
And I hope your coworkers don't already hate us.
I'm in Houston at the Houston Botanic Garden installing a huge site-specific artwork. So I'm in the supply room closet right now.
That is
Get
so
out
glamorous.
of that closet, Liss.
I
Get
know.
out of the
There's
closet.
2 doors, so
Okay.
You can just keep coming out of the
Either
closet
way.
all day long.
Yeah,
I love
either
it.
way.
So can give us a 30-second elevator pitch of where things stand for you
Oh my
and Britt
gosh.
right now.
Okay.
And Britt, give us your comments, Britt.
What do you
Yeah.
want to hear?
When we were talking to y'all before, I was about to try my first IUI. And I'm older, so I was going to go first. And we had all this huge plan, and whatever, plans never work. And so 2.5 years later, after a tumor and a surgery and just like a lot of shit,
Oh my God.
Britt basically was like, you know what? Why don't you just let me try? And like the second she tried, it worked.
Oh, wow.
So, we've spent like so much money and so much heartache and so much planning and trying to do it all the right ways and through the lawyers and through the doctors. And eventually, we just used a 99-cent syringe at home and it worked the first time with Britt. So,
Oh my God.
Now, wait a second. There's a couple questions in here that I need to ask, but I remember in the episode you saying that in Texas you're not allowed to do that.
right. So, in the state of Texas,
Well, with a known donor, right?
right. So, if
You
you
can't
have
do it at home.
right.
with a
So,
known
if you
donor.
have a known donor in the state of Texas, they're only identified as a donor if you go through a clinic or a doctor's office. So, we have a known donor. And so he had to go through a sperm bank and we had to wait the 6 months. And then we had to go through the doctor's office, which anybody who knows anything about sperm knows that frozen sperm is inherently less as good as fresh sperm. So we're already
less is good.
have things working against us. Anyway, and actually I got pregnant twice. So I had 2 miscarriages.
Oh, no.
Oh.
And the second time I got pregnant at home. So we had already started doing it at home. Like our donor's amazing. He lives like 20 miles from us. So he was totally willing to just like come over and like we would leave and he would do his thing and we'd come back and, but like we had a whole system down. And yeah, we just kind of got tired of, they put me on the highest dose of Clomid possible the last IUI cycle I did.
Ugh.
And that's what made me I had a thyroid tumor. And it was pushing
From
the
Clomid?
Yeah. So it was like a fast growing tumor that came up like immediately after I stopped taking the Clomid the last time.
Oh my God.
And they thought it could be cancer. I mean, it was really, really scary. It was on my carotid artery, like it was pushing on my carotid artery. And then there was a complication from that surgery and I actually completely lost my voice for 6 months. So like,
oh my God.
My vocal cord is permanently paralyzed. So I have to have another surgery to like permanently fix it in a few months. But right now they did like an injection in it so I can talk for right now. But for like 6 months, I didn't have a voice at all. Yeah.
Oh my God, Liss.
Yeah,
I'm
so it's like
sorry.
It's like all these things kept happening. And I was like, and then with the miscarriages on top of it, it was just too much, physically and emotionally. And yeah, so Britt was like, you know what, you've like been trying really hard, so let me try, basically. And like, and it just worked.
So I think we're gonna go the same place. So go ahead.
I mean, did you have feelings about having to let go of being, because you, if I recall correctly from the episode, you really wanted to carry. And
I still really do. I mean, and I could try again. We've talked about that. Like if we wanted to have another kid down the line, like I could try again. Like there's nothing telling me that I can't, right? Like, but except for the fear of like miscarriage again. But yeah, I mean, Brittany and I have had to work through a lot. I've had to work through a lot to like, ultimately our goal is to have a healthy child and have a family, and like, however they get into the world safely, like that's the goal, so.
It's amazing. And it's a testament to our families. Like we're always having to what's the word I'm looking for? Reimagine our plans, come to terms with things,
changes.
Like every interview we have not something like this, like actually
you went
never
through it.
heard about this, but people are always saying how, no, I had to rethink that and I had to get on board with this. And so it's a testament to you and your strength. But also that's a lot of emotion to have to go through. And our hearts go out to you because that's really
it was a lot. I mean,
tough.
It was a lot in like a really short period of time. Like I think when we had talked to you in September, it was like December when I got pregnant. And the
I remember
December pregnancy, the miscarriage was also super traumatic. Like
Oh,
I
no.
basically ended up having a DNC in office without anesthesia.
Oh.
So it was like a really traumatic experience for both Brittany and myself. So, you know, and then I got back on the horse and I tried again and I got pregnant again and then miscarried again. And that one wasn't as traumatic, but then the tumor happened. So it was just like the cards were just like stacked against me
Oh,
every time.
Yeah.
And
And-
sometimes you have to step away. Sometimes you have to step away, and then like maybe when you're ready to go for it again, you're just in a different place, in a different, who knows? Like,
Yeah.
you know, the universe is works in mysterious ways. But
Yeah.
And Britt just said, we also thought it would definitely take months for me to get pregnant. So when it worked so fast, it was definitely a very radical shift in our roles. I can imagine.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
overnight we went from like me being the pregnant person to her being the pregnant person, and like what the hell, you know? Like,
And
like
you're
a
dealing
lot.
with all that stuff that's happened to your body and your
Yeah.
vocal cords, and like there had to be like a mourning period, or
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know, I don't want to put
traumatic.
my
Oh, yeah.
feelings on you, but
Yeah, and also actually we found out it's really insane. Like we found out that Brittany was pregnant when I was in right after I had the first vocal cord procedure done, and I couldn't talk. Like I could not make any sounds. So
It's
she
like-
found out she was pregnant that morning,
and you had to go.
and I was like, like I couldn't, you know, like we were just
Oh my
crying.
God,
like,
you
it was
couldn't
just,
even
like,
express yourself though.
Yeah. So
Like
it was
you'd have
like,
to type your feelings of, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling happy, I'm feeling joy. Like that's awful.
yeah. So it's
Oh
just
my
been a lot.
Oh my God, I hope you guys are seeing BetterHelp, like for some good therapy.
I do have an amazing therapist. I
Okay,
honestly
good.
don't think I
Okay,
could have
good.
gotten through any of. I mean, she's amazing. She's queer. She has kids. Like she's awesome. But
I feel like I
love
need a
that.
therapist now.
I think I need a queer therapist.
But
yeah,
can
she's
I
amazing. She's
I will
amazing.
say one thing, like my kids lately have been, because we're open about the fact that I had a miscarriage, and we're also open about the fact that we had one donor that's the donor I had the miscarriage with. And then when I went to have Maxine, he was out of the program and we chose a new donor. And my daughter keeps talking about it. She's like, so she was like, I would have been the second kid. And I'm like, I don't even know if you would be, because we had to choose a new donor. Maybe we wouldn't have. And it's like, and the same thing with like Henry having a different donor. I look at them and I'm like, every little step, I would not have the little humans that are in my house. They would be different people. We would have a different life if that had gone through.
Right.
Right. You
I
get
mean, this is the baby you're meant to have.
yeah.
Well, the other
Yeah.
crazy, like, okay, so when she tried to conceive, it was a full moon. It was insane. It was a full moon, and it was in March, right, Britt? March. And
There's a delay, so she'll come in a second.
It'll say it after you finish
Yeah.
the story.
but it was a full moon, and we were both just like, you know, this is crazy. Like, it's going to take a while. Like, we'll have time in the process to transition and think about this and talk about it and whatever. And then it worked, and we were like, oh my God. But the baby's due date is actually the day that I lost my dad. So it's like, it's kind of insane. It's kind of insane the way that things like cosmically have just been like lining up.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
baby's not here yet. When is the
Yeah.
baby? Okay. When is the baby?
December
here?
19th. December 19th.
My daughter is the 18th and I'm the 16th. That is good time. That is
That's
a
so
good
funny.
time of the year. It's really close to Christmas if you celebrate Christmas though.
Yeah.
And Hanukkah.
I feel like that's a drawback of that date. I feel like that's a lot of like, you
I
don't
mean,
get as many
December
presents.
is crazy in our house. That's for sure. But
Yeah. Well, Britt's birthday is in December too. So
oh, yeah. So you're going to be crazy around that
Yeah.
time. Sorry. Anne is always like, oh my God. But,
Nothing like
I
planning a kid's birthday party a week before Christmas.
yeah,
Yeah.
that happens every year for us. But also like, I remember in the episode, I remember Robin saying, and she says this a lot, you know, this is going to be your first lesson. You do say it a lot. This is going to be your first lesson in parenting that, you know, you have your plan, but now you need to just throw it out the window. I think you said that in the episode. And
Well, I don't
that
think I
did
realized the
end up-
universe was going to throw so much at you.
yeah, I was gonna
Well,
say this
no.
is like a dumpster fire of our plans. Just like
Yeah.
throw it and light it, and then like start over, you know, from scratch, basically.
yeah. And I'm so sorry for what you've gone through. We both are so
Oh,
sorry for
thanks.
what you've gone through. But I say this all the time. It's my favorite quote in the whole world, especially when I was going through all my crap, is everything's going to be all right in the end. If it's not all right, it's not the end. So, you just keep moving, keep going, and you're getting a baby soon, and that baby was meant to be. And then,
Oh, you're getting a baby soon. Like you're picking it up if it's on layaway.
it's falling
Yeah.
from the sky.
Yeah.
He's
Boom,
gonna be
here it is.
and it's a boy, so we're both just like,
That's
yeah.
exciting.
Oh,
So
I mean, not
happy.
that, I mean, gender's a social construct, obviously, but
Yes.
Sure.
that's
It's
what we're
still
being
fun.
told for now.
Yeah.
Right. At this point,
Yeah.
that's what you know. Oh my God,
Well,
it's very exciting.
Whew. Okay, so you're going to keep us posted, and then we're going to later on, after the baby comes, we're going to have both of you back on to talk about like the hot mess that your life has become with kids, and that'll be fun. But you do have this cool new project that you're working on that we want to talk a little bit about. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, when I was going through the miscarriages and when we've been going through all of this, we've really been trying to find community and trying to find people that would relate to our story, or just, and, Instagram is honestly like where we found people.
Mhm.
But I'm a visual artist, and I remembered that Judy Chicago, who's like the feminist artist, if you want to call her that, did this project in the 80s called the Birth Project.
Mhm.
And it started with a national survey where she started collecting at that time, women's birth stories, basically. And then she worked with artists to create this whole series of visual work from it. And so the Schlesinger Library at the Harvard actually has all of her original surveys and all the original survey responses. And so what I've done is gone through the archives and researched them, and then remade the survey for queer birth, specifically focusing on queer families and queer family building and queer birth, and the way that queer people are thinking about their body and birth and lactation and all the different things that and loss and all these different things that we were living through, and so I recrafted her survey using inclusive and affirmative language and adding more questions on, and publishing it as a new national survey so people can share their stories, with the same goal to create a new series of visual art from it.
That is so freaking cool.
Yeah. So hopefully it's a way to form community, and a way for us to realize that our stories are not all that different from each other.
Yeah.
Look at you changing the world. Look at you changing the world.
But like,
Even after losing your voice and all, just changing the world. Get out of here. Get out of town.
I want to ask you about like as an artist and as like, two people who are over here trying to like monetize something and so we can make a living. Is this something you're doing out of just the goodness of your heart, or do you have grants, or like, how does this even work? I mean, because this sounds to me as a spreadsheet gal, like a hell of a lot of work.
Yeah. So basically, I'm an artist and I'm a professor. And so part of my professor role is research. It's creative research. And so I'm actually collaborating with a sociology professor who's also at UNT with me. And she's been helping me on kind of the data survey, like the practical side of how all things work. And her name is Katie Sobring, and she's also a queer parent. And so she and I have been working to really rethink this survey and publish it. And the goal is to apply for grants and make work inspired by it, and also kind of just have more of a national dialogue around queer birth, like changing culture, changing, normative ideas of how things can be. I mean, obviously we're seeing that in popular culture already with, like Tan France and all these people who are coming out that are queer and talking about their birth stories.
Mhm.
But the survey is also envisioned as like something for gestational, non-gestational, adoptive parents, single parents by choice. Like, it's really kind of like choose your own adventure. So you can skip questions that you don't want to answer and answer questions you do want to answer. And
This is great. This is
Fantastic.
wonderful. I'm wondering, have you seen it's an ad campaign called Womb Stories? And it's this director, Nisha Ganatra. She directed all these womb stories, and it's stories that are trying to like normalize and show women's womb stories in all their, these little ads that she's created, they're like 2 minutes long, are beautiful.
It's animated, right?
No, they're people.
I thought part of it was animated. Okay, sorry.
Oh no, there are some pieces. Yes, there is some art
interstitials that,
Yeah, it's what she has done is just absolutely beautiful and meaningful. Like, I cry every time I watch one of these ads, and I feel like, I don't know, you need to like reach out to her and have her like help you, make it like float up.
Yeah, the thing is,
that's
like,
way to say it.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I feel like, part of like the biggest step to get this started was honestly just changing the language, right? Like pregnant people and like partners and donors, and like just really like updating the language is like step one. And then kind of thinking through, like, one of the questions on the survey is like, what do you want your kids to call you? How or what do your kids call you? So just kind of thinking about language and our relationship to that too is so important. So
I love this. Who's gonna do who's filling these things out?
The answer.
Anyone that wants to fill them out. Like it's up now.
Is it up now? Like, can people do it now?
Yeah, it is. So the website is thequeerbirthproject.com. There's actually a nonprofit that's called Queer Birth Project that's a separate entity, but this one is named after the Judy Chicago work, The Birth Project. So it's the Queer Birth Project.
Okay.
So if you go to thequeerbirthproject.com, then you can read more about the project, and there's a link to the survey, and you can take the survey. And then we also have an Instagram page too, where you can link to the survey.
Oh,
Britt,
this is great.
While we're talking, can you type that into the comments so that lives in the comments?
We can't type in the comments ourselves.
I've already turned Britt into like our personal assistant.
She's like our new Helen. I'm sorry. Not to compare you with Helen, because Helen could be doing it for us right now, but she's taking a nap. She's taking a nap, Robin.
Wake up. She's in the hotel with me. She's getting the baggage. Type it in, Helen.
Getting the baggage. Helen would not pick up a piece of luggage.
She went out to get the luggage hours ago, and I think she's at a bar. That's what I think.
She's totally at a bar. She's at a bar in upstate. Liz, Helen's not real, right? Yes.
Hundreds of thousands of responses. Like, I mean, maybe
I do
not.
too.
Maybe that's too much. I mean,
no, I know. That's the thing. We're like, are we going to get like 200? Or are we going to get like, it just depends on how much people want to share their story, I mean, I think, there, she just shared the link. But yeah, I mean, I really hope that people are, I mean, as someone who's gone
Jamie
through
and I are going to go fill out our stories. That is how we are immediately.
Well, that's the whole reason we created this, because we wanted our stories out there, because they need to, it needs to be normalized. These stories need to be told, and we need to be a part of the conversation when it comes to birth and female bodies, or I shouldn't have said female bodies.
Okay.
See, you always mess up and then you correct it. And bodies that birth, right? Our queer community needs to be a part of this conversation and included. Yeah. So
I totally agree.
It's very important.
Yeah. And I mean, I think too, like thinking intersectionally about, trans pregnancy and all the different ways that people have babies now, today, surrogates, like everything. I mean, it's about time we started queering birth, to be honest. I mean, it's just ridiculous that I still go to sonograms with Britt and they're like, your husband's name on the form every single time. And I'm like, okay, I don't exist.
Hard.
Like,
that's the thing is like, these are like Word docs, for God's sakes.
Right.
Like, just go in and update it. It's not difficult. As soon as you have like one or two people who crossed it out, and I'm hard pressed to believe that every single place hasn't had at least one LGBTQ couple come through at this point. Like, unless you're talking about some like tiny little town in Alaska. And even then I'm still like, come on, you have television, don't you?
The other funny thing, and I don't know of how much drama y'all want me to go into, but
I like
the original artist who created this survey, Judy Chicago, is not a fan of me doing this. So
that breaks my heart.
Why?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I think that there's still a lot of people that feel threatened by wanting to expand the narrative.
Which is infuriating.
How did you hear it? Did she email you, or did she email your people? Like, how did you hear she's not a fan?
So she has a grant for projects like this, to fund projects, to do projects like this with her archives. And I applied for the grant and I made it to the top 3. I was a finalist for the grant, and I didn't get the grant because the project was self-serving.
Self-serving?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
So she let you go right all the way up to the end just so she could tell you it was self-serving.
Well, I think the committee that was not her, picked the top projects they wanted to fund, and then she had the final say, basically, is my understanding.
Yeah. That's too bad. That's too bad.
But I just, like, how could she not see that this was about
important
in the same way that it was important when she did it?
Yeah.
It's literally just taking and updating it. And that's, I mean, it's like, I think some people get threatened around their work as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's more that she's threatened around her work as opposed to this whole
That she's
queer
a big old
thing. And
Yeah.
homophobe.
I mean, I don't want to make
that would be-
assumptions, but it really did rub me the wrong way. I'm like, I
Yeah.
really wanted to do this collaboratively, like with her in
Yeah.
mind. And like, because I look up to her so much, it's like, I wanted to do it collaboratively. And now I'm like, I just kind of want to set it on fire and like do something that is like radically
Well,
inclusive and like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
sky's
No,
the
they say,
limit. Sky's the limit.
Don't meet your heroes. This is what they
Right.
say.
Exactly.
And it's why because it's like sometimes they're just not, they're people with
Disappointing.
their own problems and
Yeah.
insecurities and whatever.
It is too bad though. But I think the project, I'm speaking for Robin, think the project sounds amazing. And I don't think it's self-serving at all. I think it's going to help a huge community of people feel heard and seen.
I hope so.
And that's important work.
Yeah.
Hugely important.
Oh, well, and we love that you stopped by also to give us a little where are they now? Because I mean, we knew that you had a journey, but we did not know your journey was that.
I can't believe you lost
hard.
your voice. I'm like, I'm mortified for you. That's like my
Yeah.
worst. Well, one of my worst nightmares. I have a lot of
It
nightmares.
was
but
pretty, I mean, it was like,
She
there's
does.
like a zero, whenever they do that surgery, whenever they took out half my thyroid with it, there's like a 0.1 chance that could happen, that they cut the nerve and
my
it happened. So, yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That really.
I feel like you're
sucks.
getting all the bad things out of the way now, and so the rest is going to be smooth sailing.
I
Smooth
hope
sailing.
so. I mean, Britt's pregnancy has been amazing. Like she hasn't had any symptoms, she's like getting real
And you're almost
big. and
there. Almost
she's
there.
almost there. Yeah.
I
remember
I bet
because I was
Britt's
pregnant.
thrilled that you said she's getting real big. Sorry, Jamie. Go ahead.
It's exciting. I was pregnant. My son was born in November, so I was pregnant at the same time. And I remember just counting down. Like I'd be like, okay, all right, I have to make it to the end of summer, and then I only have 2 months left. Okay, now I'm gonna make it to Halloween, and then I'm like in the final stretch. Like I remember just giving myself these like markers of the holidays. The holidays were my markers. So
Yeah.
she's got 2 holidays to go, and then that baby's coming.
We're psyched.
And then we have to ask while we're saying goodbye, we have to ask Britt if she hates it as much as everybody. We like, oh, that just flew by, didn't it? I hated when people said that to me. I'd be like, no, it did not. No, it did not fly
She
by.
probably, you know what? Britt probably likes being pregnant, so she's not like us.
Probably.
Oh,
she does
no.
not like being pregnant. No.
Oh,
She's one of us. She's one
she's
of us.
one of us. Those are my people.
She does
That's how I
not
know
like
you're my
me.
people. That's how I find my people.
Well, thank you so much for coming by. This was so delightful, and it's so good to see you again.
Yeah, you too. Brittany
Oh
says
my
LOL.
Yeah, I know. We get it. We feel you. You got 2 holidays, Brittany. 2 holidays. You're
You're
almost
so
there,
close.
sister. Okay. Oh my goodness. This has been really great.
All right, one more time. Tell everybody one more time where they can follow you or follow the project one
Yeah.
more time.
Yeah, so it's thequeerbirthproject.com is the website, The Queer Birth Project, or The Queer Birth Project on Instagram. And then you can also link to my Instagram, which is just my name, Liss LaFleur on Instagram.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, well, we'll talk soon. Keep us posted.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you so much for coming. Oh,
Ooh,
God, you never
What?
know where these stories are going to go.
you really don't. I'm telling you. The vocal
I
cord
had
thing,
no
holy
idea.
crap. But can
Oh
you
my God.
imagine, Jamie, like hearing, like after you've gone through that whole journey and then
No.
your partner's pregnant and then you can't even talk to express your
No.
feelings.
And my feeling
That's-
would be pure
You'd be
anger.
sobbing and happy at the same time.
No, I'd be so mad at
You would
Anne.
be so pissed. You would be so mad at her. And Anne would
But
be like,
that's just
what'd
me.
I
and
do?
mine-
What'd I do? I'm having a baby. What'd I do?
it's not my fault it worked. Like,
What do you want? What do you want from me?
is that Anne? That's our
I don't
impression
think
of
so.
Anne.
That's my impression of Anne is I think worse than your impression of Anne.
Oh, poor Anne. But yeah, wow. Well, just goes to show you can't really plan these things out.
You cannot.
And it's all
You
going to be
cannot.
okay in the end. It's all going to be okay.
Sure is. And speaking of the end, Jamie, I have to go because I
'Cause
am
you
at
wanna
my
go drink with your
college
friends.
reunion and I need to
Oh my God.
have some cocktails.
Well, you do that. I'm going out with the moms from 3rd grade tonight.
That sounds just as fun, Jamie. That sounds just as fun.
Listen, They know how to throw down a couple glasses of wine. Let me tell
I
you.
will tell you that. I will tell you that. Moms are not messing around.
Especially when we're out and away from the kids. Everybody's like, all right, let's do it. No holds barred, you know?
I got a sitter.
Oh,
All right.
man.
All right.
Okay. All right.
We're going to say eggs
Ovaries
and good day
Out.
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 Good day.